to Canucks After Dark. Here are your hosts, Parker Hallowell and Clay Emo.
Good evening, Vancouver. It is Wednesday, August 25th, in the heart of the offseason. Welcome back to Canucks After Dark, the weekly late-night Canucks talk show with me, ParkersPucks, and my co-host, Canuck Clay. How are you doing on this fine Wednesday?
I am great, Parker. Thank you. I just noticed your background is so much nicer, so much more colorful. I just look like a dull gray guy in a red shirt. I need some more color around here.
I got a new light, which is making everything look a little better. So,
it looks awesome.
Yeah, we're always up in the game here. Hopefully, you all who are watching live and listening in podcast form, hope you're all having a good week. Hope you're enjoying the off season. It's been a bit of dead air, so to speak, in the hockey world the last week, with not too much going on, especially relating to the Canucks. But we're going to try to entertain you guys for the next hour or so. We'll be leaning on you guys in the live chat for some help as well. And if you're listening after the fact in podcast form, come check out the live show sometime. Just search Canucks After Dark on YouTube, and you will find us there. Clay,
yeah.
Why don't you think of something for us to talk about to start off this week?
Well, can I share a bit about my weekend just really quickly?
Absolutely.
Is that okay? Okay. So you guys know that Parker is a good golfer. He's too humble, but I know the guy has a picture of him golfing on his Twitter. Okay, so I think he's a good golfer. I suck. So we were in Whistler, me, Sean, Jacob, along with some church guys, two foursomes, amazing, played Nicholas North in Parker knows all these places, Nicholas North in Whistler. Then we went up to Big Sky in Pemberton and then down to Squamish Valley. And Sean is really good, my eldest son. Jacob is pretty good. He's more of a bowler, but he's actually pretty good at golf. And I got to tell you, man, I can find way less expensive ways to get frustrated. Like it is just, I love being with the guys. I love being outside. And my wife and daughter, they explored the village and pampered themselves, which they deserve, right? We're all getting ready for school or work or whatever we're doing. But I love the time. But, man, that's a frustrating game. So forget about you challenging me unless you're going to give me 36 strokes, like 2-hole. You got to teach me. You got to teach me.
Well, if you're talking about cheap ways to get frustrated, you could just turn on Sportsnet and watch Canucks hockey sometimes.
That's true.
That's too easy of a dig.
But yeah, you got to teach me. Teach
I'll
an
try.
old man.
I'll
teach
try.
An old dog new tricks.
But I got to beat you first. That's the rules.
It'll be honestly, man. You'll have fun for like 4 holes, and then you'll actually feel sorry for me. I think you're gonna feel sorry for me.
I could use a win sometimes. We do.
I will say one thing.
Say
one thing. I got to meet Rick Dollywall in person.
Yes,
that was
I saw the
cool.
picture.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he was
Lucky
walking.
Rick.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. He was walking in the in the village, and I yelled out, "Hey, Rick!" And he turns around and he looks at me and he goes, "Holy sh!" And he didn't say it. Well, no, sorry, he said it. I don't say those kind of words. Yeah. And it was pretty cool. Shook hands, introduced him to my family. Very quick chat. Didn't want to keep him, but very humble. And then last thing I'll say about this, Parker, I tweeted met the legend Rick Dollywall, and he wrote me and he goes, "Hey Clay, I didn't retweet it. I hope that's okay." I said, "Yeah, no problem. You do what you want, man." And he goes, "I didn't retweet it because you called me a legend, and I'm all about being humble." And I said, "Well, call me the legend then."
Yeah, that's it. Oh, that would have been great.
So it was cool. It was cool. That it was a great trip. Yeah,
very cool. All right,
thanks, man.
We got a bit of Canucks stuff to talk about, not a lot, and really there were. I mean, if we look back on the last week, Ethan Keppen signed, and that might have been the biggest news. Anything you want to say about Ethan Keppen?
That was news because there was a chance they weren't going to re-sign him. Is that fair to say? Or
Right.
there's at least talk? Yeah.
Right. Well, they didn't sign it. They didn't qualify him. But,
Okay.
I mean, there was no... I mean, he's probably not going to play in the NHL, right? And there's a reason that it took so long. That's... I mean, nothing else really there. There was like a Daniel Sedin interview yesterday where he said he's enjoying being back with the team, and that was basically it. Like enjoying doing stuff again, and that's kind of it. I don't think I missed anything. However, also the Canucks have a job opening for an in-game host. So you
should apply.
Lots of people were saying you should apply, but I think
apply.
We're a little busy with our own stuff. But one thing that I did want to talk about which was kind of interesting. And this was more so just about the Canucks organization as a whole. And, I have ragged on Jim Benning for quite a while, the last few years, especially, and since I've made content on YouTube. And so every year The Athletic does a fan study, and basically they poll everyone who wants to participate. You can give your opinion on every team's front office, and then it gets split up into public opinion. So what do other teams' fans think of your team? And team fans' opinion. In this case, what do Canucks fans think about the Vancouver Canucks front office? And this was very interesting. And I already told you, I shouldn't have told you. I would have wanted you to guess where the Canucks fit. Well, how about this? Where do you think the general public ranks the Canucks out of 32 teams? These are non-Canucks fans, so the outsiders in the NHL.
Okay, and you guys, while I'm answering this, everyone in the chat, you guys rank what's the other one? What we think of our own, right?
What Canucks fans think, yep.
Okay, so I'm going to guess what other non-Canucks fans think of our management, and people in the chat are going to rank us 1 through 32 on what our fans think about our own management. Okay,
right.
So for me, because I know that answer, for me, I think fans are going to see that we have a good young core, but I think they're going to know of the mess that we made. Not we, you and I didn't have anything to do with it, but well, I hope not. But what happened with last year's COVID. So I was going to trend a little higher, Parker, but then I think I get pulled back a little bit. I'm a little bit biased by what you told me about our own ranking. So I'm going to say 25th.
25th is pretty close. The closest answer we've gotten, Coach Rob says others 27. Other fans from around the NHL have the Canucks ranked as the 29th front office in the NHL. And the Canucks fan base also has the Canucks ranked 29th in the NHL. So basically the way they did this is they asked...
a double Gino.
Exactly. Well, triple, because it overall ends up at 29th too. So they asked for there were 6 categories that people could rank on a 1 to 5 scale.
Okay.
Basically, these were roster building, cap management, drafting and developing, trades, free agency, and overall vision. What do you think was the worst public sentiment out of those 6?
So read me the 6 one more time. Sorry, Parker.
Roster building, cap management, drafting, trading, free agency, overall vision.
Okay. I definitely think it's going to be one of either cap management or free agency. I think people will say, outsiders will say cap management.
It is cap management. Cap management, public opinion, a 1.7 out of 5 on average, which is 31st in the NHL. Fan base, the Canucks fan base also had it at an average of 1.7 for 31st in the NHL. So according to general public opinion, whether that's outside or the Canucks fan base themselves, a 1.7 out of 5, 31st in the NHL. Their best category, drafting and developing, which isn't much of a surprise. Canucks fans give them a 3.5. Outside teams give them a 3.4. So good for 12th and 13th in the NHL, respectively. But yeah, free agency, about a 1.8. Roster building, 2.4. But yeah, basically, general consensus is not great for the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, and 2 insights from me, Parker, right away. Number 1, it's amazing how close the non-Canucks fans their rankings are compared to Canucks fans. That means either actually it goes both ways. I guess Canucks fans are smart and other fans are smart. At least they're thinking on the same level. So that's kind of neat to see, actually, that there wasn't a lot of disparity. Were any of the 6 grades like a big disparity?
The biggest disparity was on roster building.
Yeah.
Public opinion was a 2.4 out of 5. Canucks fans gave it a 2.8.
Right, and maybe because of the new moves, right, this summer.
Yeah, but that's only a difference in a couple of spots. On the rankings.
So, and the second thing I was going to say is I did a video about Jim Benning, and I kind of ranked 4 of those six things, right? Drafting, roster building, free agent. And when I say roster building, I guess I throw into like contract extensions there, free agency and trades. And I said he's been great no, good. Yeah, no, he's been good at drafting and developing. It helps when you have Pettersson, Hughes, Podkolzin, Hoglander, Demko. I said he's been okay at his own contract extensions. I know you love talking about, you like his RFA signings, right? Generally, when he has
RFAs are great, UFAs are a little sketchy. That's sort of the Jim Benning special.
And I think that's what I was going to get to. And then the UFAs and his trades are hit and miss. So I can see where both the Canucks opinion and the Canucks fans and the general NHL opinion, why they ranked them how they did. At least they're recognizing top half of the league in drafting and development.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think most of these are pretty fair.
Yeah.
The other wrinkle that was a part of this poll was one last question, and that is, how has your confidence changed over the past year? Are you more confident in the team or less confident or about the same compared to how you were a year prior? Now, this is one where I'm going to trust the fan base more so than I'm going to trust the public, because I mean, the public looks and they see, they see the big stuff, but not necessarily the smaller stuff.
Yeah.
The public's confidence has declined a lot in the last year. It's about, there's just bars, but it's about like 60% are less confident in the public, and only about 10% are more confident, with the rest being sort of in the middle. With the fan base, it's about a 40-30-30 split. 40% of fans are more confident than last year. 30% are sort of in the middle. 30% are less. I think I'm smack dab in the middle, because I was sort of negative to start with. Still, he hasn't sold me yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was definitely an interesting wrinkle as well.
Yeah, I guess the public, they wouldn't see maybe they hear stories how Pettersson and Hughes aren't signed yet. They don't know all the cap implications. They don't get as excited as we do as Connor Garland and Jason Dickinson, how that's such a big improvement for our top nine. So that makes sense to me. And I saw some people, wouldn't you just love to prove, well, maybe you don't care. I would just love to prove them wrong. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I want the team to be good.
Yeah. Maybe that's a better way of putting it.
I get comments on my videos that occasionally, not very often, it's probably like 1 in 100, where people are like, oh, you just want the team to be bad. It's like, no, I don't. I really don't. I really want the team to be good. You think like our channels would be doing much better if the team was better? Like, it would be night and day.
Parker, you write to that person, Parker, and you say, can't you see the pain in my face when I had to do a post-game video after every game? You write to them and say, you watch how happy I'm going to be when the Canucks rattle off.
I'm going to be fired up. And this is sort of a thing we see around the media, just sort of go off on a tangent here, where lots of people are like, oh, the media just wants all negative stories because it's better clicks. It's like, no, it's not. No one cares about the team when they lose. There's all these casual fans. Like I look at, like, my parents, for example, right?
Yeah.
They enjoy watching hockey, but they probably watched 2 or 3 games last season. But go back to 2011, they probably watched 60 games, right? People, the majority of the fan base is, more fair weather fans, the ones that aren't on Twitter, the ones that aren't listening to 650 day in and day out, right? People want the team to win. Now, what's kind of fun about this this sort of poll is they've been doing it for like 6 years now, and the Canucks' best was 25th in those 6 years. And that was last year, after they made the second round in that bubble.
I love what you said, Parker. Not the part about 25th. I love the part what you said about channels' interest just getting. It's better when the Canucks do well. And before I traverse to you here for Canucks After Dark, I started like a decade ago with Canucks Hockey Blog, and then I wrote for them, and we did a podcast there called the C4 Podcast that's still going, which I'm happy for those guys, obviously. And then I wrote a bit for Daily Hive, now Vancity Buzz, or off now. That's Offside, right? They went from Vancity Buzz, but it's interesting what Rob Williams, the editor still at Offside, told me was that it's night and day when the Canucks are doing well. How much more eyeballs, how much more clicks, how much all those things. So you're right. This whole narrative of but actual media want the Canucks to do poorly, to write, negative stories, controversial stories, clickbait stories. No, they know that they're going to do much better when the team is doing well. That's why the bubble was so exciting a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at our channels, right? I mean, you did live streams after every game, right? The ones with the most views were after fun wins usually, right?
Yeah, so I did 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I think back to that Maple Leafs game, which was on the day I moved. And the Canucks had a big win, and that was one of my best videos. So we want the team to win. Now, some other fun questions from this poll. Let's start with, which team do you think was last? What team do you think was 32nd in the NHL in public opinion?
You said 32nd, so they included Seattle?
Seattle's included, yep.
Okay, and I have not seen that. So in public opinion, it's got to be Ottawa, Buffalo. I say Buffalo.
Yeah, it's Buffalo. It's not very close. Buffalo with an average score across all of them with public opinion and fan base at a 2.0 out of 5. Public opinion has them at a 1.7. Second last was actually San Jose because they are falling apart. Then Arizona was 30th. Ottawa's up here. Ottawa is 21st right now.
Ahead of us?
Yeah, well ahead. And it kind of makes sense, right? They're on the upswing, right? But and then the easier question, which team's number 1 on this poll?
This one I'm cheating. I saw some people, it's got to be Tampa.
Yeah, it's Tampa Bay by quite a bit. Average score of 4.6. That makes sense. I mean, you win back-to-back Stanley Cups and be the best team in the NHL for 3 years, basically. That is going to happen.
You know what's interesting about the Buffalo being ranked 32nd, and that's without Jack Eichel taking the survey, right? Like they didn't include his results, so that is pretty good.
He might have an athletic subscription.
Wow, yeah, they're hurting. Ottawa, wow, 21st, so basically top right at the bottom of the second third. Wow. Okay, Canucks got some work to do, both in the perception, I guess, of our fans, and of course across the NHL. But there's nothing better than, as we've been talking, than winning.
Mm-hmm. And if we care so much about this poll, right? If we're looking at sort of this and we're saying, what will it take for the Canucks to move up in public opinion? Winning is obviously a big one. Yeah. Let's say Podkolzin comes in and does really well, and maybe Rathbone makes a splash. That drafting one might tick up a little bit. Yep. And if Oliver Ekman-Larsson actually is good, then the trading one probably goes up a little bit. And yeah, I think that's sort of your potential for an improvement there.
I agree. Free agency will just never go up in this market.
No, it's going to be tough. They're going to have a lot of work to do. Where was free agency? Did I mention what free agency was? Canucks fans gave him a 2 out of 5. Yeah. Or no, 1.7 out of 5 from Canucks fans and 1.8 from the general public.
So drafting and development was the only one that was in the top half of the league.
The only one that wasn't in red on this graphic.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Man, you don't need to be an analytics whiz to know that that's bad.
Yeah, 2 out of 10 is bad. Or 2 out of 5, sorry.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, I got to go read that tonight. Wow, it's interesting.
It's a fun one. All right. That's kind of all of our Canucks stuff. And it was barely Canucks related. But definitely a good conversation starter. Guys, we are going to be leaning on you in probably 10 minutes or so.
Okay, I'm gonna go there. Parker. I know we kind of talked about it. Do you mind if I go there? You know what we were talking about going there? Yeah. So
nothing's off limits.
Okay, no surprise. The Canucks following suit of the Winnipeg Jets, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I'm sure many other cities, most in Canada. We'll see what the States does, requiring proof of full vaccination for players, staff, employees, guests, which means the fans. So not a surprise. It comes hand in hand with the province making all these rules and kind of protocols, delaying step 4, all that thing that's happened in the past 2 or 3 days. Your initial reaction, Parker, I love your tweet. I think we're both in the same boat here. That's not just because we hold tickets to games. It's a matter of, in our opinion, what's best for public health, public safety.
Look, I don't talk about many politically charged subjects very often, but if you look at my Twitter feed, I don't make my politics very hidden. It's one of those things where public perception was very in favor of it, and there's a lot of, with the majority of people being fully vaccinated, most of them are more comfortable if it's only other fellow vaccinated people in the arena. Mm-hmm. Just kind of one of those things that everything fell into place where it made the most sense. And we're seeing that around everything. I think Alabama's football program is going to require the same thing. And they're one of the lowest vaccination rates in the world. So it's not surprising. It's something that if anyone wants to argue with us in the chat, we will promptly ignore you because there's no point.
Well, I think Parker's being a tiny bit facetious, but not entirely. Yeah, and it's just, if you choose not to vaccinate, that's fine. And I said that, and I've been saying that. Everyone has their choice for sure.
Sure.
And I respect that you have that choice, but by the same token, people need to respect that the Canucks, as a private business, as we talked about, can do anything they want. But they're following the lead of many others. The majority of businesses are going to do this, obviously.
Yeah, and it's right now legally they have to. For the next little bit. So it'll be good to see people in the stands. Hopefully on the, I guess not the 13th. They start on the road, but whenever they come back, I thought I'd pull it up faster.
26.
Is it that long? Do they start? Oh man.
Yeah. October 26th. Is that right?
You're right. Against the Wild, they start off on a 6-game road trip to start the season. That's absurd. Yep. I mean, get it out of the way while you're rested, I guess, right?
6-game road trip, and that 6th game is Seattle's home opener? Yeah. No.
Wait, sorry. Yeah. I've zoned out a little bit. What was that?
Isn't the 6th game of that 6-game road trip in Seattle on Saturday the 23rd, but is that Seattle's home opener or not?
That's Seattle's first ever home game. Yep.
Wow.
That's the one I wanted to go to, but it will be way too expensive.
Do you still have your hotel room? Or you still have it for now?
I have a hotel booked because I'm going to, if the border's open, I'll be going to the Seahawks game on the Monday.
Oh, that's awesome.
Following that. So that's the dream, at least.
Oh, Canucks on Saturday, Seahawks on Monday?
Yeah, Monday Night Football.
The Monday night? Oh, that's a good trip.
Yeah.
That's a good trip.
Sunday, just sit in the bar and watch the rest of the NFL.
and see your how well your fantasy team's doing?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Just on Red Zone all day.
When's your draft, by the way? Your fantasy draft?
September 7th, I think. A couple weeks.
Yeah. I might need your help on that too. So
right.
Not only on golf and NFL fantasy. We'll just add the list, man. Just send me the bill.
I was going to say, I'll send you a check. All right. Two other quick things that we can hit on. Henrik Lundqvist retiring, which is pretty big in NHL circles. I mean, he was one of the best goalies in the NHL for 15, 20 years, right?
Yeah.
And, I saw some conversation of what tier of goaltender he belongs in, which I thought was kind of an interesting conversation. Why don't you lead that off?
He's never won a Stanley Cup, correct?
Correct.
And what's his most Olympic success? I can't remember.
I feel like Sweden won a gold at some point
with him. Yeah, they must have. So, it's funny. Not only, Parker, did I see that what tier he's in, but I've also seen a lot of comparisons to Roberto Luongo, another goaltender who has not won a Stanley Cup, who led his country. Well, at least we know Luongo led to gold here in 2010. So, first ballot Hall of Famers, yes, probably. Best of all time, maybe best in the among the best of the last 2 decades. I wouldn't say all time. Where does he rank? I put him in the solid. Am I putting him up there with Brodeur, Waugh, and Hasek? Maybe not, but maybe just a notch below them.
Yeah. I'm in that same boat. I think there's sort of 2 tiers here, and we got some clarification. He won gold in 2006 in Torino, and silver in 2014 in Sochi.
Thank you for that.
So that was his Olympic success. Also, the gold medal in 2002 in the World Inline Hockey Championships.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, good goalies are good goalies on skates and not on skates, apparently. I think is sort of where it falls, right? You have the sort of Hasek, Waugh, Brodeur tier, right?
Yep.
Brodeur kind of on the lower end. And then you've got the sort of Lundqvist, Luongo, Price tier. I think you might be able to lump Price in.
Someone put Jonathan Quick in there. He's won 2 Stanley Cups.
Yeah, I think Jonathan Quick's peak wasn't as long. Yeah, maybe because Luongo and Lundqvist were sort of up there for a longer period of time, but Quick had the higher high, right?
Right. Yes.
So I think that would be fair to put him in there as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got him at basically tier 1B or the second tier.
Yeah. I'd say that's like there's like a S tier, and then he's in like the A tier, right? Like he will be a Hall of Famer. I have not like him, Luongo, Price, quick. We'll probably all be Hall of Famers.
Okay, I'm an idiot. What does S tier and A tier mean?
S is the best.
Okay.
And
Does
then
it stand for anything?
I don't remember.
It's a thing though.
Yeah, when people make like a tier list, it's usually like super, like the super, and then A, B, C, D, F.
Oh,
usually.
I see. Okay, gotcha. Just kind of like Dom Decision's game score. There's elite, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Kind
it's
of thing.
it's the top.
Okay, so I got a question for everyone in the chat. You just type in one word. Which goalie had the better career, Lundqvist or Luongo? The 2 L's. I would love to know. We'd love to know what you guys think because we made that comparison.
Both made a Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
Both won gold at the Olympics.
Yeah.
I'm sure Luongo won gold at a world championship, right? Because Lundqvist did. Luongo won. Where's international play? Why are they not the same? Oh, yeah. Luongo has 2 golds in world championships and 2 golds at the Olympics, 2010 and 2014. Although I don't know if he played much in 2014, if I remember correctly. Was he the
24? I don't know.
I think it might have been Price playing more.
Yes.
But yeah, and then both obviously making Stanley Cup Finals. Luongo getting to Game 7, Lundqvist getting to Game 6. Was that series or 5? Game 6?
No, I think it was only 5. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I guess
when the
LA,
Kings
right?
beat
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think most people in this chat are probably going to be biased, right? Justin and Calvin going Lundqvist. Agam going Lundqvist, but then we get Luongo.
Yeah.
Oh man. I'm going to say Lou. All right. Asking Canucks fans, great point. And then Coach Rob saying Luongo. C-Edit saying Luongo.
Well, Coach Rob said it because he got the same name. That's the easy one.
And then Justin saying Luongo's backup in 2010 came when Brodeur struggled. Yeah, Luongo started the 2010 Olympics as the backup. And then I think Brodeur lost that game against the States.
Yes,
in the round robin.
And they were they were just looking for any excuse to put Luongo in, honestly.
Yeah, and then Luongo came in and was lights out. Luongo kind of saved him in 2010.
Well, that's good. That was a nice way to get people involved. There was some really good. I'm impressed also with how quickly you get those things on the screen, man.
Yeah, I mean, I just sort of click. It's just a lot of clicking. Alvin saying Lundqvist has better stats, I believe. I haven't looked at that. That would have probably been a good thing to look at. Lundqvist's career save percentage is .918.
Wow.
But he had lots, like his best season, like 2011, 2012, he was a .930, and he played 62 games.
Wow.
Then a .926 the following year, .923. So Lundqvist had a 6-season stretch where .920 was his worst.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely outrageous. And Luongo had Luongo had a season where he played 73 games for the Panthers, lost most of them,
yeah,
and had a .931 save percentage.
Wow.
So I think they both had about the same amount of seasons above a .920. I mean, I think you're going to have trouble arguing. Their career save percentage is basically identical. Luongo's goals against average is worse because he played for those Florida teams for most of his career.
Before we get to Don't Do That, can you throw up the question gold medal or Stanley Cup? And I think most people would say Stanley Cup as much as it's great to represent your country and there's nothing wrong. Obviously, it's awesome to have national pride. The Stanley Cup is what you start playing hockey to win, not an Olympic gold medal. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's not close. You always, it's also just the sheer mass and size of the trophy, right? Like you picture yourself lifting the Stanley Cup over your head, right? That's what you envision in the backyard shooting pucks at the garage, right?
Yeah.
The gold medal is amazing and definitely something to be happy with. But I am sure if you asked Luongo if he wanted to trade both of those Olympic golds for a Stanley Cup, bet he'd take it.
Would you trade 3 Olympic golds for a Stanley Cup? Would you?
I don't know.
Well, just work with me here.
Sure. Yeah, probably. It depends, right?
Yeah.
But it's, I think you take the Stanley Cup all day.
Absolutely. Oh, I just used a Parker word. Absolutely. That's good. You're rubbing off on me. Maybe your golf game will rub off me too.
You can hope. And Yeah, thanks for your feedback there, guys. That was fun.
Yeah.
I guess we have one more topic that I have listed here, and it happened I think last Thursday, and I made a video on it that the Coyotes are getting kicked out. Basically, the city they just didn't pay their rent. Basically, what happened is when the pandemic hit, they sort of went and the Coyotes owed the city of Glendale money, or like the arena management company in Glendale that's owned by the city. It's a weird relationship. But they owed Glendale money. COVID hit, and then the Coyotes are like, hey, we don't have any money to pay you. And then the city's like, hey, let's make a deal where we'll forgive a certain amount of this debt, but going forward, you miss one payment, we're done, right? We have the ability to just call it. And they owed, a few $100,000 basically. And Glendale said, yeah, after this season, we're done. Like, we're just not putting up with this anymore. It just sort of keeps adding on to this list and this pile of sort of controversy that the Coyotes have been involved in.
Wow. So what was your final takeaway? Did you give any predictions to if you think they're going to work it out versus end up moving?
Well, they're not going to work it out there in Glendale, right?
Right.
Their other options are apparently there's like an arena in Tempe that's going to hopefully be ready for the following year, but maybe like the year after. So they might have like a gap year going somewhere else. Obviously, we hear all the commotion around relocation, and there's always been sort of there was always the big three. It was Houston, Quebec City, Seattle. Well, Seattle's taken now, right? Seattle's got a team. And it's either going to be, if they were to relocate, it would be either Houston or Quebec City. Obviously, I think we'd all want that to be Quebec City, but I think Houston's probably the more likely option. Although I'm not entirely sure that relocation's at the top of the agenda for the team.
I'm trying to think of how far is Glendale from Phoenix? I know where Mesa is. I know where Tempe is. I don't know where Glendale is.
It's not close. It's
okay.
Oh wait, no. This is why would I search Glendale to Phoenix? Why would it give me Glendale, California? It's close. It's like it's a suburb, right?
Oh,
like
okay.
It would be like if the Canucks played in like Burnaby or New West.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't be ideal. But it wouldn't be the end of the world.
Okay. No, that's good. No, I saw your video did your video did well, and you did well in the video. That's an interesting topic for sure. We'd love it if Quebec City got we get to a nice round number of 8 Canadian teams, and obviously you got to figure out some relocation, like figure out the divisional alignment. But that's easy. They figure those things out every few years. So
they just changed it. The Coyotes they just got moved to the Central anyways.
Just keep moving them. But then someone's going to come back our way, like to the west. So we'll see.
All right.
Very good. 33 minutes. You know what that means? It's that time.
It is that time. Well, do you want to do Don't Do That?
Let's do it.
Okay. If you guys have Don't Do That's, please throw them in the chat. And also, while you do that, also throw in questions or other topics or things you want us to talk about, because we're fresh out. We have used all of the stuff we want to talk about for the week. So if you have other interesting topics that have either happened this week, or just random questions about the upcoming Canucks season, or what we're doing, or personal questions, or whatever, we're going to fill the next 25 minutes with some hopefully some fun conversation.
Brandon Prust.
I don't want to bother. Okay. I don't want to give him any time of day.
Fair enough. So Brandon Prust, don't do that. Yeah.
I fully agree, Ayum. Yeah. Is that the only
Lucas,
Don't Do That?
Lucas.
Oh,
keeping
the Coyotes in Arizona. Don't do that. I mean, I'd like him to move. They just seem to sort of be Gary Bettman's like pet project, right? Where he doesn't want them to go anywhere. Like, he's worked so hard to make this team work, and it just isn't happening.
I agree with everything you said. I'm just reading Marcus's.
I saw that.
Didn't we talk about that last week?
Yeah, literally the exact same comment, I feel like.
Sorry, I just find that really funny. Because I'm a 47-year-old man trying to say that word. Yes.
Yeah, rad. All right.
Choice.
That's kind of all the don't do that's. There weren't very many. Let's talk about some other random topics here.
Sure.
Signing your star RFAs, please do that. Please, says Agam.
You like that?
That's pretty fair.
Or we could say not signing your RFAs. Don't do that. Like that's work. The double negative works as well. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
I feel like we've had that exact comment probably, but
Okay, Gomer, do expectations for Conor Garland, because I got to tell you this. I think I've said this to you before. There's one guy on my channel who harps on me. He says Garland and Horvat. We've talked about this before, so I'll go very fast. Garland and Horvat are going to get over 70 points. I said I would love that to happen, but that means Miller, Pettersson, Besser. You're expecting them to get more than that because they're the first line. You rarely have 5 guys get over 70 points. So what, Parker, are your expectations for Conor Garland when it comes to point totals?
Well, to sort of go on that first thing, we're predicting both Garland and Horvat to get 70 points.
Yeah.
Only one of them is going to be on power play 1, right? Because you can usually only have 4 forwards, right? So that's unlikely. One of them could, and if it, I think Garland tops out at sort of 60, but I think even that, like, I'd be stoked if Conor Garland got 60 points.
Yep.
I mean, he was on a really good pace this year, right? He had basically 39 points in 49 games, which would be about 60 point pace, maybe a little higher than that, which would be great. And I think that's sort of a fair expectation. He's going to be playing with, decent players at the very least. But I would say my prediction, to be on the safe side, 55, but I'd love it if he broke 60.
Yeah, Horvat's career high is 61. So I said the same thing. I have Horvat in a good year, somewhere between 55 and 60 once again. And then I would love Garland to hit between 60 and 65, but I do not see him clearing 70. Yeah.
Keep in mind, guys, if you have 2 second-line players hitting 60 points, that's unreal.
Yes.
Like, that's so good. Because then you probably have, like, Pettersson, Miller, Besser putting up 70.
Yep.
And that's also unreal. So I don't think you would. I don't think we should be complaining if he doesn't hit 70 points.
And gone are the days where the Canucks are going to score where any team is going to score 300 goals a year. Right now, it's 240, like 80 or 260 if you're lucky. Yeah, it's not going to be 300. Actually, can you put up edits about the jersey? 5 up. Which newly joined Canucks player's jersey would you get if given the choice? So I really like this question because with the jersey, you could just like the number, you could like the player, you could like something about that player. I don't know why I got a David Booth jersey. That's still my worst jersey purchase ever. And then we won David Booth jersey off the back in the Canucks season finale. So we have 2 David Booth jerseys, not just. Yes, I know. Feel my pain.
Oh boy.
But if it was between Conor Garland, Jason Dickinson, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Tucker Pullman, and Yaroslav Halak. Those are our 5 new guys, right? Basically.
And don't forget about Di Giuseppe.
Oh, yes, of course. Whose name I can
Brad
never say.
Hunt, Luke Shen.
Yeah. I would go Conor Garland because he's got the longest contract, 5 years, and I think he's going to be a fan favorite. So for me, it's an easy one. I would take Garland. I would buy Garland's jersey.
I think that's the safe choice. Again, based on contract length, based on him being likely to stay. I mean, if you want to go strictly on most likely to be in a Canucks uniform for longest, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, because you might have trouble trading that contract eventually.
That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, I think but why would you want to wear Ekman-Larsson's jersey, like, compared to if you're banking on him not being good and that's why he's here so long? I would probably go Conor Garland as well. Most exciting, youngest, like the ability to play for this team for 10, 12 more years if everything goes right. And I think he's going to be a very, very exciting player.
Sure, and a lot of people say Podkolzin, which is fair. I was thinking newly acquired by the team, but yes, Podkolzin. Technically, Jack Rathbone comes in as a rookie as well. I don't think he played enough. Right?
Yeah,
he didn't play enough games.
He only played a couple of games last year.
Yeah,
he's definitely Calder eligible.
Good question, Sienna. It's very good.
Lots of people voting for Dickinson in the chat here. Podkolzin, like you said. Coach Rob wants a Tucker Pullman jersey. I respect that.
Coach Rob, you're the best, man.
You're getting 4 years of value out of that for sure.
And I love Quattrob David Booth jersey. What were you thinking? I wasn't. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And then the hockey gods punished me by giving me a second one.
Yeah. Apparently, you're. Yeah, that's hilarious. What else do we got here?
While you're looking, I'll just say that was before David Booth went kind of weird. Like when he got here, he was good. He had
Yeah.
a good career in Florida. He had a couple of scary knee injuries, but he did a bit with American Express line with Ryan Kessler and Chris Higgins. That was kind of cool.
Noah asks, sort of off the board, have you been watching any Lions or Whitecaps?
You go first.
No.
I have. I've watched all 3 Lions games so far. Yeah,
I watched the fourth quarter of one Lions game.
the one that they won.
No.
Oh.
No, I think it was their first one, and I was like, oh, they're playing. I'll turn that on.
Yeah.
And it was nothing was happening. Whitecaps, I like going live a couple times
Yeah.
a year usually, but I don't love watching soccer on TV unless it's high stakes, right? Like I watch the Euro finals, and, like things where I'll watch any sporting event where there's something on the line. Like the Olympics, right? Like I'll watch table tennis in the Olympics, or
I was trying to learn how to
water
play
polo.
better. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with you. Whitecaps, actually, this is kind of bad. I follow how well or not well they're doing, but I really only go if Marie brings me if she's singing. Honestly, it's just soccer's just not my sport. For the Lions, though, I did used to go to Lions games 3 or 4 a year. I remember this is before you were born, Parker, but in the late 80s when they were putting 60,000 people in that stadium. It was amazing. That was when BC Place was brand new and was fresh and cool. But gone are those days. I suffered through the tough days, but I was there when they won the Grey Cup in 2011.
Nice.
So I've always been a Lions fan, want them to do well, and will probably get myself out to a game or two, but I want them to figure out what the heck they're doing in the stadium first. I heard there's a gong show trying to leave.
Yeah, I've been to a few Lions games in the past, and it's one of those things where it's like if it was a packed house, it would be awesome, right?
Yep.
That's what it needs. But when there's only 9,000 people in there, or whatever it is, right? It's just not the same.
Yeah. I like Sammy's about 9 up, about Horvat. Could Horvat represent Canada at the Olympics? So let's presume that the Olympics are on with NHL players. I've seen Horvat projected on 50%. Now, it's not like there's dozens. There's only been about 4 or 5 projections, but I've seen him on 50% as a fourth line winger because, as we've talked about, there's so many centers that half the team will be centers. So I would love for him to make it, but he's going to have some stiff competition for sure.
Yeah, I think if he has a really good start of the season, it is what it would take, right? There's so much competition, right? I mean, when you're talking about a team that might have Braden Point on like the 3rd or 4th line, like you're really like it's a team that's going to have like 9 centers on it that are the best on their team. Canada can send their C team and they'll have a shot at a medal. So yeah, I think he could. I think if he really has a strong start to this season, they'll probably play like 30 games by January or so, 30, 40 games. So, if he's putting up like 25 points in 30 games or 35 and 40, like if he actually has a really hot start, then yeah, for sure. Definitely has a shot.
Yep. It'd be awesome. It'd be amazing.
Fun question from Justin. Yarko Ruutu or Artem Chubarov?
Yeah, I like Rutu's game. I didn't think much of Chubarov's game. I do remember, and I remember Rutu more. He was kind of a feisty, kind of third liner type guy who you really want on your team. Chubarov, I don't think he really amounted to much unless I'm missing something massive.
Chubarov only had 58 career points in the NHL, all with the Vancouver Canucks.
Okay.
In 228 games. Ruutu played, 650 NHL games, had 142 points.
Okay. So almost the same points per game. Maybe Rutu's a tiny bit better.
Ruutu stuck for longer.
Yeah, he did. So I'll go Ruutu.
Chubarov's only 41. He could have kept playing. He retired.
What do you say about 41-year-olds? No, I'm just kidding. Although I'm 47, so I'm not sure why I even asked that.
I said he's young.
Yeah, okay, great. Thanks. Oh, that's funny.
All right. Any other ones you like here?
There were a couple higher actually that when we asked.
Up.
Yeah, that'd be great. Let's go. Where was it? Oh no, before C edits. I know this is really good for the podcast.
Great radio. Yeah. For those of you in your cars, I hope you're enjoying this.
John Chen from 10:35 p.m. Okay, awesome. Would you put Hoglander and or Podkolzin on the PK? Parker.
If you had to,
Yeah.
but I don't think so. And it comes down to they're probably going to have a prescribed amount of minutes per night. And you don't want to use those up on the penalty kill. The Canucks went out and they addressed it a bit, right? I mean, Jason Dickinson might not be the best penalty killer based on some of the numbers I've seen, but like defensively he's very good. So like he's going to slot in there. And I don't think Hoglander and Podkolzin are needed on the PK. Especially, you look at Hoglander, he's probably going to be, he could be getting second line minutes, right? Playing with potentially Horvat and Garland, if everything goes well, right? You wouldn't want him out there taking extra time on the penalty kill because then he's more tired when he's out with his actual unit, hopefully getting some offensive zone starts. Podkolzin, on the other hand, will likely be on the third or fourth line, so we might have that opportunity. But I could see Travis Green trying to shelter Podkolzin a little more and give him more offensive starts, unless he really comes out and impresses defensively, which I don't think many people are betting on. But it would be good.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think penalty kill is the one part of your game where you need experience and you really got to trust your guys. We know that Travis Green really leans in on the guys he trusts. And I'm not saying he doesn't trust Hoglander or he won't trust Podkolzin, but you also have to earn trust, not just in hockey, in everyday life. So maybe we're having this conversation next season or 2 seasons from now. But I think you already have Mott, Sutter, Dickinson, whoever the fourth line right winger is going to be. If it's Highmore, you can put Miller and Pearson. They've done penalty killing. So I think you already have 6 guys ahead of Hoglander, Podkolzin that you're thinking about using. Does Garland kill penalties too?
He might have in Arizona, but that would have probably been out of necessity. I don't think there wouldn't be any reason to have him out there at that point.
Yeah, so let's switch to the power play side of special teams. Noah's question. Would you roll with the same PP1 as the past 2 seasons and put Garland and OEL on PP2? I'll start with this one. I saw one person suggest that you take Besser off of PP1 and put Garland in there. So actually, Parker, you could have Horvat, Garland, Miller, Petey, and Hughes. And then your second one, you need a center. I get it. Or you can change on the fly. But you're going to have Pearson out there. You're going to have probably Hoglander out there. One of OEL. You have Besser, Pearson, Hoglander, then either OEL or Myers, and then you need one more forward, whether that's Podkolzin or someone else. I could see them breaking up the Lotto line and moving one of them to the second unit.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't hate the moving Besser off of it because I think the way the power play one looked and the way the Canucks power play has looked over the past couple of years is very stagnant, right? And I always notice this, especially when the Canucks are playing against Edmonton, because you'd notice McDavid just skating the entire time, right? You look at the Canucks power play, it is a standard umbrella where there's 3 people just everyone's standing still basically, and they're just passing around until something's open. There's not a lot of movement. And it's because you have Pettersson, whose main option is to shoot. You have Besser, whose main option is to shoot, right? So the Canucks power play is sort of run through either get it over to Pettersson for a shot from the one side, or Besser from the other side, or Horvat in the middle, right? Was sort of like the 3 real scoring chances they had. If they wanted to take Besser off, maybe focus a little more on feeding Pettersson one-timers and then have Garland as a more active side, right? I mean, what we would see McDavid do is he just sort of skate laps, right, on that one side of the ice and just sort of load up. And, right, you could have Garland maybe moving on this one side, getting passes and trying to open up passing lanes a little bit more to get something going. And then that allows a really good shooting option on power play too, when, if for the first 80 seconds of the power play one can't do something, you still have a really high scoring potential option in Brock Besser who you can feed the puck. On the other hand, Brock Besser just feels like he's got to be on power play one to me because he is such a good shooter. Right.
No, that's fair. And the other thing we saw a lot too is we saw JT Miller often take the reins as the quarterback because you're right. You'd have Pettersson on the right. And even actually when Petey got hurt, especially, you saw it was more Miller and Hughes, right? Miller would kind of load up, come all the way to the blue line, and then start skating towards the net. And then he's got pretty good vision, good hands, so he can either fire the puck at the net, or you're right, go down the bumper, into the bumper, go down the net front, or back up to Hughes. So plenty of options. But yeah, that's a good point, though. Is Garland as dangerous as Besser? Besser does feel like a PP1 guy. So do you move? You don't move Petey and Hughes. So then your only choices, you're right, are Horvat or Miller to the second one. If you want to get Garland on there, yes.
And look, this conversation is such a positive, right? Like we're talking about, we're not talking about who do we need to fill a hole. We're talking about, we've got 5 really good forward options, and one of them is going to have to drop to BP2, right? Yep. And that's a luxury for this team, honestly. And you know, the power play has been sort of middling in the NHL, and it's a real chance to one, either have a power play that's good from the start, or you have options to switch things around if they don't work, right? Things don't work, take someone out, put Garland in, or take Garland out, put someone else in, or take Horvat out, put him on PP2 and throw in an extra shooting option, right? Like you have, the team has flexibility now where it's not like, okay, well, we've got 4 really good forwards and 1 really good defenseman. This is our power play 1, right? It's at the point where we can start to do a bit of shuffling. Hopefully, I mean, we know Travis Green loves to shuffle, but it might just open up more options.
Who's your defenseman on power play 2 then? Is it Ekman-Larsson? Is it Myers? Or is it Rathbone?
Well, I don't know if Rathbone's even playing to start the season.
That's true.
But if he is, I'd like that, right? And I mean, it goes back to the 1 goal we saw him score last year, where he showed that he does have really good vision, and he's mobile. And I think that would be another really good option on power play 2, right? Power play 2 has been the more mobile unit for the Canucks, right? They've been a bit less structured and more like, all right, let's try and get something to work really quick. So I think Rathbone would be a good option there. However, also, you know, you see power play 2 usually out there to end a penalty. So, you know, maybe Travis Green not wanting Rathbone to be the 1 defenseman out when a penalty is over. We're back to even strength, or again, just sort of a trust thing, right? Like having guys out there who can, you know, maybe reliably set something up, and maybe an Ekman-Larsson's a better option for something like that. I need to see him and Myers both doing things to pick one, although I'd kind of lean Ekman-Larsson at this point, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. We know that he's got a decent shot. I think it's a lot more accurate than Edler. It's probably harder at this part of his career too. So I agree with you. I think Ekman-Larsson with a slight edge over Myers for sure.
Shannon says to hit the like button, guys. So do what Shannon says. Lucas asks, looking at the team, is this playoff material?
Absolutely,
this is the big question for the year.
Absolutely, yes. Whether they're second, third, or fourth, that remains to be seen. But aside from Vegas, I don't see a clear front runner in this division. So to me, there's a 5-team glut in the middle. Yep. Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Seattle, LA. You can say Anaheim, San Jose going to not be in that part. So the Canucks could finish anywhere, honestly, between 2nd to 6th. I'm optimistic. I think they're a playoff team. I think they could fight for 2nd or 3rd, but a lot of things got to go right, though.
Right. The team has a shot, right? Yeah. And I think that's a safe bet is they, like, even if we say they're only 50-50 to make the playoffs, well, I think they can, right? They have the roster, they have the construction to at least make a run. You know, it's going to be a long season. Hopefully they can pull out, you know, if they can pull out 48 wins, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're easily in, right? So, I think they're playoff material. I'm not 100% sure they will make the playoffs.
Oh, that's good. They could even go 44, 34. That's 60. No, 44.
You have to like 44 and then like 8 overtime losses.
Yes,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
Is basically
whatever the math is there.
44, 30, and 8 or something like that.
Yeah. Can you go Edmund? You think Oyel and Hughes will be a pair in the beginning of the season? I don't think so. They're both left side guys. I think they're going to try and establish some left-right chemistry. So I do think it's going to be Hughes and Hamonic again, and then you put one of Pullman or Myers with Ekman-Larsson, likely Pullman, maybe, who knows, and then Myers on the 3rd pair with either Rathbone, Hunter, Juolevi, as we've talked about.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most likely. Although, Hughes did have a bit of an off year last year.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if things get shuffled there. Try him like in training camp. I'm sure we'll see all of the defensemen play with all of the defensemen and just see what works. You know, there's like 6 or 7 preseason games to work stuff out before the season starts. So I think we'll know a lot more then.
Yeah, they might try Hughes with, you're right, all 3 right-handers, but I don't think you'll see him with Ekman Larson, because then you're just messing up the balance a little bit too much, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Although it'll be fun to watch.
This is fun from Tiger. Will Yaro Halak outperform Braden Holtby this year?
I hope so. Do you remember, Parker, that Holtby actually started the year last year? It actually went Holtby Demko for the first 10. They went 5-5, and then Demko kind of established himself as the better goaltender. Like Holtby a lot. Tough year for everyone, as we know, but he didn't play well. He had a couple good games.
Yeah, I mean, Holtby's by far the younger goalie, right? He'll be 32 this season. Like, he's still really young, which is surprising to me. And Halak's what, like 36? Yeah, he's 36. So age curve wise, it feels more likely that Halak is more likely to decline more. But in the last few years, he's been the better goalie. The last 2 years, especially. So I think it'll be fairly close. I think Halak might be a little bit better, especially in a limited workload. So
is Holtby going to Dallas as the backup, right? Behind they got Godobin and Bishop still.
Yeah, I don't know.
And Ottinger. What the heck?
Yeah, they've got some goalies. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what they have planned. He might not even play.
Yeah, that's weird. I didn't
Bishop
realize
is old though. Bishop's 34, right?
Yeah.
Like although Bishop played 44 games last year, like the previous year, and had a 920. So he's still been fine. Bishop's got a heavy contract though, almost $5 million for the next 2 years still. All right, let's go to this one. I like this question from Farwan. Love the channel. Thank you. If the Canucks do well this season, so I'm assuming this is sort of at the deadline and they're maybe in a playoff push, do you see them maybe making a move of a extra forward for a D-man? Because we do sort of see that this defensive group is struggling. And if you want, we could sort of transition the question more into what would they trade for in general at the deadline?
Yeah, that's a really good question indeed by Farwin, because I think when people ask me, often they ask if the Canucks are fighting for a playoff spot, would you trade picks for a rental? And I say absolutely not, because we've seen how boring it is when the Canucks don't have a first round. They don't do it just to entertain you and me, but you got to start to build the prospect cupboards again somewhere.
Right.
So I'm more open to this player for player, so to speak, type of trade. But like who is it? Is it someone like a Brandon Sutter who's going to be a UFA anyways? Is it someone like Brock Besser that you're not afraid to, but you got to qualify at 7.5? Like obviously we're talking about different types of returns. You could get a bona fide top pairing D-man for Besser, where Sutter you might get a 3rd round draft pick or something. Right. So I don't know. It's kind of nice to think about that situation, but I don't know if they would go guns a-blazing for it all in this year, although Benning seems to want to do it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where if you don't have a realistic shot, like if you're not one of the best teams in the league, trading picks for rentals gets really iffy, right? I mean, we saw it when the Canucks went all in for that sort of 2009, 2010, 2011 sort of stretch, which was the correct thing to do. Right? Because the Canucks win one more game and no one cares about this rebuild for the last how many years, right? It doesn't matter. So if it's to win a Stanley Cup, if it's to push your chips in to actually win a Stanley Cup, yes, do it. But if it's to maybe help you win the first round of the playoffs, but you're still going to get crushed by a Colorado or Tampa in the long run anyways, then that's where it gets iffy for me, right? Because you're shortening your window, because that's why that, sort of 2011 team fell off so hard, right? All of your guys suddenly need to get paid and they're getting older and you have no one new that's coming in for cheap in your system. So, you see what Tampa's doing, where they're making the playoffs now. They're winning Stanley Cups, and every year they still have like this random 23-year-old who shows up in their system, and he's really good. And it's because they've been drafting and developing this whole time. So, the Canucks will need to keep making draft picks to succeed in the long run. So hopefully, unless the team is on like a 50-win pace, right? if the Canucks are gonna put up 110 points in the regular season, that's like, all right, well, might as well, right? But I don't really foresee that. I think they'll be more around like the 96, 98 range, sort of more on the bubble.
That's a good point. It would be great, but the Canucks surprised us, and we're battling for first in the division or up there. Then you're more open to those kind of conversations. At the same time, you don't want to wreck what you already have, but yeah, you want to load up for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 11 o'clock already. Look at that.
It's almost like we were hoping that we were going to get there.
Yeah, no, we pull it off as we always do.
Well, thanks to everyone watching.
We didn't even talk about Pettersson and Hughes contracts this week. We didn't have to. Thank goodness.
Yes.
In the next couple of weeks, we will hopefully have something to talk about there. But before we wrap up, let's sort of give you a primer on what is to come. As you know, for the last basically July and August, we've been doing shows on Wednesdays. That will be the same for the next 2 weeks. So September 1st and September 8th, we will continue to do our shows on Wednesdays. September 8th will be basically our season 1 wrap up. We'll be done our first year doing this, which, I mean, we'll only be doing it for 5 months. But we started back in April. However, that'll be sort of our season 1 wrap up. And then we will switch back to Mondays on September 13th. Basically, as news starts to pick up around the team, as we sort of ease into training camp, that will be the start of Canucks After Dark season 2 for the 2021-2022 NHL season. That'll be our league year start date, so to speak. So that is what you have to look forward to.
And I'm excited. We've been blessed by the growth already in these short 5 months. We grow more than 100 subscribers a month. We're at 550 subscribers in 5 months. One thing Parker and I were talking about, we noticed that we've been consistently in the top 40 in hockey podcasts in the country, not just in the province, because there are a lot of podcasts here, but in the country. And that's been a nice surprise. The last 2 episodes have done really well. So we're really excited. We're not just trying to survive the next 2 weeks, but we know as soon as the middle of September picks up, that's why we're moving back to Mondays, a good day for us. And we know there's going to be a lot of excitement surrounding the team. So we're really excited about the winding up season 1 and forging ahead with season 2.
Yeah, and the fact that we are hitting these like in the 30s and 40s in the country for hockey podcasts, and the fact that we get most of our viewership comes from YouTube anyway, so that doesn't even count, is super cool. So we know that we're up there, which is absolutely crazy. Considering we started this thing back just 4.5 months ago. And that's all thanks to you guys. So thank you guys very much for sticking around. Steel Dog says our show was a C+ today, so we'll pick it up for you next week. he was joking.
And right below that, Edmund, it says, I guess it's Edmund's birthday on Saturday. So happy early birthday, Edmund.
Absolutely. And thank you guys again very much for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, again, I can see that, our viewership sort of goes up as the show increases, as some of you notice a little late. So you can always go back and watch the show, or you can catch the audio version wherever you get your podcasts. Our last 2 episodes are our most listened to podcasts ever.
Yeah.
So I recommend you guys go and listen there if you missed anything. Anyways, I think that's it. Thank you guys very much for hanging out with us. We will be back next Wednesday. Of course, you can find us both on our YouTube channels. You just search Canuck Clay and ParkersPucks on YouTube, on Twitter, everywhere. Basically, you'll find it. That's basically it. Clay, any last words?
Maybe we'll have actual Canucks news to talk about, but we've proved tonight with the help of our fine and loyal viewers and subscribers that we can make anything work.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
Just like Jim Benning.
Yes, he'll make it work, hopefully.
Number 29 in the league.
Yeah. And we'll see you next week.